poppin', beautiful people? Welcome to the MIZZES Best Reviews channel. We're here to go over 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. Shout out to all of you who have supported my reviews of 90 Day Fiancé. I will be covering the franchise as a whole going forward on the channel, but 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days, I felt heavily supported from everybody that stopped by my channel, watched my channel, subscribers. You guys showed up and showed out. Also, thank you to James for covering most of the season with me. He is working night shift, so he'll probably be on a lot less lives, but that is okay. But thank you to everybody for supporting it. This is our last official live review of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days, season 8. Yes, I will cover season 9 of this show whenever TLC brings it back. This show was highly entertaining in several ways. But before we get into the last part of the tell-all, I'd like to remind everybody to tap in with the links in the description of this video. There are links to people I frequently co-host with often, such as Shayna_MCD, Key1JTV, and Watch Your Mouth Reviews. There's also links to other creators that cover and enjoy this show, such as VibeX. So tap in, beautiful people, tap in. But let's get into the tell-all. And let's also greet Shani. I'm so sorry, Shani. Welcome in to Shani. I appreciate you for being here. I also appreciate you for moderating. It means the world. I hope that you had a good day as well. Y'all, we start the tell-all because we're coming off of Lisa and Daniel and their crazy story. Why they didn't bring up the fact that this lady took a poop on this man at the tell-all? I felt like everybody was unusually nice to Lisa and did not hold Lisa accountable. Because there's a lot of stuff that Lisa did this season that they just did not comment on. And I wanted them to comment on it. I don't know if she was getting preferential treatment. Maybe TLC's trying to keep things cool because we know she's dating this new little African boy. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like they were too easy on Lisa. But we learned from Faith, who's Lisa's daughter, who I never want to see again on my TV screen, that Lisa had a partial hysterectomy and that Daniel impregnated her the first time they slept together at 63 years old. And she had an ectopic pregnancy. An ectopic pregnancy is a pregnancy that occurs outside of the uterus. It is extremely dangerous. You cannot keep the pregnancy. Here's the thing, Lisa, if you and Daniel knew that you was pregnant, why was you still drinking and doing all that crazy stuff? Also, everybody rooting Lisa on at this tell-all was weird. Y'all do realize that Lisa has not been scammed or screwed over. The only thing Daniel did was a fake, illegal, traditional marriage. Other than that, Lisa lied about being a lesbian. Lisa lied about how many times she's been married. Lisa lied about still being married. Lisa lied about who she's married to. Lisa lied to her daughter about going out to Nigeria to see that man. Lisa lied to her friends. Lisa's lying to the people of this show. She lied to a homeless shelter, her ex-wife. This lady is a liar. And I'm just looking at everybody like this lady is not a victim. I don't care how little and old and white she's trying to act. This lady is no victim. She's just as bad as Daniel, if not worse. She's just as bad as him. Now, Shetty said, I'm the first up in here. You are. I appreciate you. Why didn't anyone ask Ty how he felt about laying in bed with someone who craps the bed? Right. Nobody brought up the fact that this lady pooped herself. And as quiet as it's kept, what made the series and why people were so invested and so many new viewers to 90 Day is because she pooped on him. And it was like, wow, they scamming each other back to back. They scamming each other. But everybody want to act like Lisa's so innocent at this tell-all. And Laura got on my fucking nerves too. Laura just talked the whole tell-all. I hope to never see Laura on TV again. I don't think she's even being authentic with her relationship, but I'll get to her later. Shani said she had a partial hysterectomy and she still has her tubes. Never thought that she could get pregnant in her tubes. Yes, ectopic pregnancies, that's exactly what that is. It's dangerous. A lot of women almost die when they go through it. So I am glad that Lisa's okay. But Lisa was 62 sleeping with Daniel. I'm sorry. Show me on my chart, girl. Are you in menopause or not? And I know that sounds mean, and I probably shouldn't say it on the internet, but I don't believe this lady was pregnant. I think she did have a scare for her life in the hospital, but I think the 62-year-old ended up pregnant? No, I don't. Absolutely don't. And I know some people have been recorded to end up pregnant in old age, but I don't think Lisa is one of them. Again, she's a liar just as much as Daniel. Now, Daniel mentions to us that Lisa has a new man. And Lisa says this new man is also in Nigeria, and he was her best friend, a 31-year-old, best friends with a 62-year-old. Okay. Across the world. Sure. Who never met. But she swears this man is her best friend, and he is now, she said, and he's now the love of my life. Lisa, why are you like this? Why are you like this? What is wrong with you for real? This is not the love of your life. The love of your life is not going to stand by and watch you be with another man. Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I saw a post my husband sent to me today saying that Lisa left one relationship from a Nigerian because he was just using her for money to end up with somebody else who's convinced her that he's not using her for money. When the reality of it is, I'm not trying to be mean, but Lisa, these men don't want you. They want you for the access that you provide them. One, to this country, and two, financially. Because you don't need to be rich to support somebody over there. You really don't. But she says it's the love of her life. And she told Daniel, she's saying, you are not my master. I won't have it. The corny, I'm standing up for myself. I'm a strong woman. Strong women don't make stupid choices like these hoes up on this stage. I don't understand why the people were rooting Lisa on and why Lisa thinks this is going to work. But she says that her new man's name is Ty. And apparently Ty was on Daniel's side a lot for what she used to tell Ty about Daniel when he was with Lisa. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is weird. So they asked Daniel things. And before we get to that, Elise pointed out that Lisa cheated as well. And Faith looked annoyed because she's like, yeah, my mom just jumps into things. It's like, yeah, Lisa cheated as well. Thank you, Elise, for pointing that out, because Lisa sat by there and was going to ease on by everything. But Lisa, the internet and the people watching, TLC may have let you get away with a lot. We still remember you taking a poop on that man. We still remember the fact that you are a habitual liar. You wasn't shit, and you wasn't there for your daughter coming up. Like, her sister, Lisa's blood sister, done come out talking about how crazy she is. Like, no. Like, Lisa, I'm not about to sit here and act like she's innocent. But I always laugh when people entering relationships they know they should not be in try to make the person seem like they're ethical or on the side of someone they shouldn't be. I have a lot of friends that do that. They'll get with somebody or back with somebody they know that they shouldn't be, and then be like, well, this person, you need to thank them for this, or this person is actually on your side and, speaks highly. It's like, I don't give a fuck how they treat you. Like, at least it's sitting there trying to make it seem like Ty is fair and ethical and shit. Girl, but you're not really telling us much other than you in love with this man. You're not telling us anything. And TLC, y'all would be foolish to not keep Lisa for another season of something somewhere on this franchise, because Lisa really was interesting. But we get to meet Ty through a television and a shady internet connection. And Daniel says hi to Ty with no problem. He says, that is my fellow man. That's my guy. Huh? I said, are these Negroes friends? Look, Shandy said Daniel and Ty are friends. I'm like, what? Are y'all friends? Because Daniel was cool with dude. And we learned that there's a 21-year age difference between Lisa and her new man, Ty. Daniel was, I believe, 40. Lisa was 62. So she was just looking at, Daniel was 40, I believe. And Lisa was 62. So she's looking at 22-year age difference with Daniel. But she said this guy was 31 and that there's a 21-year age difference. So I don't think Lisa can count. That would make it a 31-year age difference. That means this man that she's dating is the same age as her daughter. Cringe. And listen, I'm not going to come at Rick the Ick for being a disgusting 53-year-old trying to get with 25-year-old girls. Lisa is the same type of nasty, because what the fuck business do you have, woman or man, being with somebody 30 years younger than you? I'll never accept that. It looks weird. Like, it just looks weird. Now, if it was somebody a little more serious, like Laura, I might kind of be like, okay, I guess I have to accept that. But Lisa, girl, you just moved on to another scam. Stop it, Lisa. But they asked Ty questions because Lisa and Daniel are still traditionally married, and Daniel says that Lisa is his, and he said, Lisa, how are you going to serve two masters at one time? Not two masters. So for those who don't understand, in African culture and in other cultures, they will refer to the husband, the leader of the household, as a master. It doesn't mean it's a yes massa type of situation or any of that, but that is how they think. I think it's crazy that Daniel thinks that he's the master of anything when he said before Lisa, he was walking around Nigerian slums with shorts with his ass hanging out of the back because they had holes in the ass cheek area. But it's the audacity on both ends of these people that was just crazy. Ty says, though, he's not concerned about a traditional marriage because it's not legal. See, Ty is smarter than Daniel. Daniel put up with a lot for the green card. Daniel, you should have ate the box like she wanted, and maybe she'd still be willing to deal with you. Ty said he don't care nothing about a traditional marriage because he's going to legally marry her. And Lisa's going to be going back to Nigeria. Lisa's just something wrong with her. She said, and I'm going to go to Nigeria to live with my new man. And Faith is going to come with me to Nigeria this time. And she approves of him. The fact that your daughter needs to approve of a man for you versus vice versa shows the pathetic excuse for a mother that this lady is. And the reason I'm so hard on Lisa, for those who don't understand, her sister came out because Lisa was adopted, had a hard life. She does have BPD and things like that. But the family of Lisa has spoken out about how bad Faith's life was, Faith having to live with different people, never getting stability. Don't forget, Lisa was homeless still for years. Like, Lisa was not there for her kid when she needed her, and it's now showing up and is there for her, but only because her kid is really having to facilitate and oversee, almost chaperone her mom going on a date, which is fucking crazy. She's the mom. And I feel like Lisa's daughter is so busy trying to take care of and defend Lisa that she's not getting her own needs addressed or living her own life. And also, her daughter seemed a little delayed, just like her mama. I'm sorry, I'm saying it. She's grown. But that's what Lisa's going to do. She says that her and Ty will be legally married. And she says this, but he hasn't proposed yet. I never understand people like this. How the fuck you planning your honeymoon and you ain't proposed to yet? You can't plan your honeymoon until you're at least engaged. You can talk about what you would like in a honeymoon, but you can't actually plan one until you have like a person to like do it with. But we'll see. Lisa, pretty much that's all we get from her. Daniel's last words are telling Ty to be careful because they are traditionally married. And Ty said, "Are you threatening me?" They'll be all right. But Lisa's last words to Daniel, she said, "Let me go and you're not my master." Okay, y'all. And then when they get backstage, this is how you know Faith is full of shit. Don't come on stage if you're going to lie. You better do like Emma's sister did and air out all of her drama. Because Faith going to say, well, I'm only 75, maybe 77% sold on this relationship with Ty. And Faith kind of has the attitude of like, her mom's impulsive. She's going to do what she does anyway. But at least she'll feel better about it being part of it. I say let Lisa crash and burn and suffer. The problem with Lisa is it sounds like a lot of her friends and family say yes and help supplement her bullshit. Let Lisa do what she does. She's 63 years old. Let her do what she does. She doesn't see that these men probably just want her Social Security. Lord. But we're going to move forward into the comments, you guys, before we move on to the next couple to get into. Shani said, it's a good thing I keep my legs closed now, locked at the knees, because I was very reckless with my then friend after my procedure. Understandable, understandable. It's very rare though to end up pregnant after a partial, but then to also have an ectopic pregnancy is rare. So, you know, that's why I don't fully believe Lisa. Ty and Daniel are friends. I'm gonna tell you, Ty looked like the witch doctor that she gave the goat to. He does. They probably all know each other. I'm telling you. They're like, oh, he's mad at Daniel. So Daniel called his friend Ty and was like, we gonna get this lick one way or the next. I bet you they know each other. Lisa knows what these men want from her. She wants to be the master with the money. That's a good point, Shani. I'm actually, after watching this, I was a little confused. Like, I don't get what Lisa's doing. I don't understand this lady's perspective. But if you put it from in that way, she probably does like control because the wife left her, her husband left her. Sounds like all of her exes left her. So maybe this way she has some type of control. That's a really good observation, Shani. We still remember what your head looked like up under them wigs. I was glad she didn't wear the wig to the reunion. If she would have came on the reunion with that wig on, looking like a POI and a crackhead, I would have been so upset. She looks good without her wig. She just looks like an older white lady without the wig. And nothing's wrong with that. She's not crazy. I mean, well, she might be crazy, but she doesn't look bad. I think Lisa looks better without her wig. And I think we should all uplift her to never put that shit upon her head again. And if Depends or any of the adult diapers are watching 90 Day Fiancé, y'all better call Lisa for your next ad. Do a clip. Don't want to shit the bed, buy a Depend. Look, I done helped y'all come up with the slogan. That's what they could do. Same age as my son. Get away, lady. That's weird. It's weird. Lisa kept calling Ty her boyfriend. Yeah, you got the boy part right. She calling him her boyfriend while talking about their marriage. I'm like, girl. Delusional. How you planning a honeymoon and you have not even met in person yet? The math don't be mathing. At 63, she knows what's good for her. Let her make her own choices. Once people pass 30, let them do what the fuck they gonna do. Either they're gonna listen or they're not. What can you do? Glad the staff there did not give her a wig. Nope. But TLC cheap. They don't give them much of nothing. They kind of like own low budget. So we get to Forrest and Sheena. Forrest is proud that he has a job. He announced on national television that his paycheck was $781. So Forrest is making about $1,500, maybe $1,600 biweekly. He's not making bad money, but he's not like rich, but he's not making bad money. It sounds like he's paid weekly. If he's getting $780 a week after tax and a paycheck, that's an okay salary. If you live on the West Coast, he's in Oregon. That's not too far from me. One of my good friends, shout out to John, lives in Oregon, around the Portland metro area. Like if he's making $781 a week, he's making good money. Now, if that's his bi-weekly check, Forrest. If that's your bi-weekly check, baby, I mean, at least he has his Social Security to supplement. But I was glad that we got into Forrest and Sheena at this reunion because this is where I had the most questions. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, I was looking forward to seeing Molly. Now, Forrest, after announcing his paycheck, he says that working has put an immense amount of stress on his body. He says he hardly has any time to talk to his Sheen and breaks down in tears because he has to work a 40-hour week. I said, are you fucking kidding me? Pathetic. Autistic or not, that's fucking pathetic. There is no reason he should not know. There are programs all over the country because the federal government makes people aware of it through Social Security. And there are employers that participate and get tax deductions for employing people with disabilities. So Forrest, you crying about a job just tells me you ain't had to work one and you mad you actually having to do it. And what's kind of sad is I feel like he's working this hard just for Sheena. You could tell he really loves her and wants her to come with him. But I don't think Sheena will ever make it to Forrest. I'm going to just keep it a buck. I don't think she will ever make it to Forrest. Right, Shani, that's not bad weekly. But if that's bi-weekly, he's not making shit. But if that's a weekly check, that's a livable wage. That's a livable wage. Absolutely, that's a livable wage, especially in Oregon. Especially in Oregon, y'all. Oregon's much cheaper than California. But This man broke down in tears over working a 40-hour weeks. He said, my legs hurt. I have to work 40 hours a week, so I don't always have time to do what I want. Well, Forrest, welcome to life. I work 40 hours a week. Sometimes I have to work more. I also do YouTube for at least 25 to 30 hours a week. In addition to that, I go to school full time, which takes up like another 35 to 40 hours of my week. Stop complaining. Just because your children have a disability does not mean that they don't need to understand the importance of a work ethic. Because if not, they'll be 33 years old on national television crying because they have a good job. Stop, Forrest. Because in this economy, some people are losing jobs. Some people are struggling to find jobs. Like, just be grateful. But I am happy that he's finally working. I'm extremely happy that he's working because I knew he could do it. Autism does not stop you from working. You just process differently. But you're just as smart. You're just as intelligent as other people. You just struggle with emotional communication. And of course, some other things depending on how you rank on the scale. But where Forrest is at on the spectrum, he could absolutely work. And I'm glad that he's finally doing it because there was no fucking way he shouldn't have been working. Now, Shani said, welcome to the real world, Forrest. Some people have to work 40 hours or more a week in order to live in America. Okay? That, like, welcome to the club, sir. You are not the only one. I get annoyed at that, but some people act like it's really hard. Some people really just act like it's a struggle, but hey, we all got to do it. We ain't gonna be the first to work. We're not gonna be the last, and the same for Forrest, the same for me, and the same for everybody else. It just is what it is. But we move to the fun part, which is learning about the meat and potatoes of what's really going on as it relates to the application process for Sheena's visa to come into the U.S. Now, what we have learned is they have not started the application process, and the reason Forrest says he has not started the application process is because he doesn't have a printer. Sheena and Forrest are some fucking liars. They did not admit that they had met each other before coming on this show, which there has been proof of online. And then you say you haven't started your visa application because you don't have a printer? Do y'all realize that Forrest probably works at a CVS or a Walgreens? He is working in a pharmacy. Guess what pharmacies have? Printing services. You could print something for $1. Go to the FedEx store, the UPS store. The library still prints papers for 5 cents a page. So for you to sit here and say you have not done this girl's K1 visa application, you haven't even started it because you don't have a printer and it has to be done in paper. I'd like to also remind everybody that when we met Forrest, his trailer is a smart house. Sheena can see everything he's doing in the trailer. He's got cameras. So you have all this technology, but you can't figure out how to print a piece of paper. Forrest is lazy, just like he couldn't figure out how to work. Forrest is lazy. That piece of paper is not the reason you have not applied for the visa. I think the reason that Forrest has not started the process for Sheena to get her K1 visa is because Sheena doesn't want to get the K1 visa because she wants to stay and do whatever she's doing over in the Philippines, which is okay, but I want to know what it is. And the cast, Rick said, Forrest, I'll help you if you'd like. Rick offered to help Forrest with the document. Laura said, I live very close to you, Forrest. She lives in Washington. It's extremely close, literally neighboring state to Oregon. Like, there's no excuse for him not to do this. So I was happy to see the whole cast step in to really try and support him. But if you notice, Sheena was so fake. Oh, yes, thank you, everyone. Sheena is fake. Some people think that when they're polite, that people aren't going to see through the bullshit. We see through the bullshit. We definitely see through the bullshit in the facade of your kindness. Like, hey, Vibe, how are you? I just saw something you tagged me in. I hope you had a good day. Y'all subscribe to Vibe X. Vibe X covers lots of good shows. Rhode Island. He's covering Atlanta. He's covering the Love Island, Beyond the Villa. He also discusses what's going on with a lot of these celebrities. So please support Vibe. We love Vibe. Me and Kiwan, we really do. We were just talking about how kind you are. We appreciate you. Thank you. the federal government on any application. I remember applying for my passport like 5 years ago or however long ago that was. It's crazy. But when I applied for my passport, they were like, if you don't have access to a printer, we will mail you the application and materials. The government's going to help you find a way. Like Forrest is so full of it. He's genuinely full of it. And he gets on my nerves. Right. They will literally mail the paperwork to your address. They give that as an option. And if you can't figure that out, there's also places you can go that will assist you with filling it out. Like I know the embassy in San Francisco, you can go there, the same building, you get your passport and all of that. You can go there. They have a section for people trying to get those K-1 visas. Like, Forrest has options. Forrest and Sheena just lied, and I don't appreciate TLC for not calling that part out. It was not their first time meeting each other. I mean, it's just a lot of lies. I don't feel like Forrest lies because he wants to, though. I feel like he's lying because of Sheena. And this is where Molly, his mama, comes out. And Molly says that she and Forrest have been trying to have a good relationships, but they still have their squabbles, which I appreciated because I was very honest. And Molly, they play a never before the scene thing of Molly telling Forrest to have fun, be safe, and have a time, turn the radio up and tear that ass up. She was really uplifting him for sex. And a lot of people view it as inappropriate, which I would too, but maybe she's trying to ensure, because he is autistic, that he appropriately responds to sex and doesn't do too much. But I still feel like it was inappropriate. Like, why are we? I mean, I understand parents giving out condoms. My husband's mother has given us a plethora of them. I mean, I get that, but she didn't like hand it to us and be like, you turn the music up, Aunt, and you bend that young lady over. Like, Molly, why are you telling him to turn up the music and turn off the lights and light a candle and shit? Like, why are we doing this? Like, that's not cool. And a lot of people don't like Molly. In the first couple episodes of this season, I did not care for Molly either. But toward the end of the season, if y'all watch my reviews, I am not mad at Molly, because while she's inappropriate with sexual boundaries that parent to child would have, she's still a parent. And she did everything she could to make sure that boy stayed where he was at. When they met Sheena's family, she made sure to ask the right questions. Like, Molly is a mom that cares for her son. I'm not going to come at her too bad. And I appreciate her for calling out Sheena's bullshit, because Sheena does have a bad habit of crying her way out of shit. And I hate people who do that. Do not just cry your way out of stuff. Or Sheena's one of them people, if you call her out on something, I'm sorry, I should not have done that. I hate people who be so quick to apologize, but so slow to understand what they're apologizing for. I don't like it. It irritates my soul. But Molly says that Sheena is manipulative, which I believe. And she says that Sheena changes her stories off them. She flip-flops and she doesn't answer questions straight. And they end up, the host as well as the cast ends up, everybody calls out Sheena about the money, because the host was like, Sheena, you told Forrest that you would not be giving your parents money anymore, and your parents agreed not to ask you for money anymore. But then the next day we saw a scene of your parents still saying they're going to ask you for money and expect you to give it to them when they ask. So how can you say, that people feel like you're a truth teller when you just proved you lied in that scene because you didn't tell Forrest that? But Sheena then tries to blame it on something cultural. Remind y'all, Anna was watching, and Anna is Filipino as well and lives in the Philippines, and she was not shaking her head yes to it being a cultural thing. Just because you live with your parents and are Filipino doesn't mean they expect everything from you. Now, if they need some help, fine. But it sounds like Sheena's really like giving up her check or something, and that part is not good. But Sheena says that recently she has been able to save a lot of money, and that her parents have not been asking her for money, and she has not been giving her money. And everybody finally calls out Forrest because he was sitting up there quiet, not trying to say anything. And Molly was like, that's not true. They just asked them for money as early as last week. So this is how you know that Sheena convinced Forrest to lie for her, but he didn't convince his mama, but he's still running and talking to his mama. This is also a lesson for everybody. Even if you're having a problem with your partner, you don't want to tell everything to your parent because they're going to hold it against them. They're going to remember that shit and they're not going to be okay with it. That's what friends are for. Call your friend, not your mama, because look, Molly threw that under the bus as soon as she could. And I don't blame her because Molly's been out to look like she's the problem when the reality of the situation is Sheena, who is not autistic, is lying to somebody who's on the spectrum who loves her, who would struggle very hard to deal with being lied to. I just don't like how she's moving. I don't like how Sheena's moving at all. I think it's selfish to lie to a person that you care about. If it's something like before surgery or them coming out of surgery, oh, you look beautiful, fine, that's acceptable. But if we're lying about the way that we're going to plan the rest of our lives together, where we're going to live, applying for a K-1 visa, that shit's not okay. Some things you just don't lie about to people, especially when you're in a relationship. But I cracked up because Molly called out the tears. She said, and don't you start with them tears either, Sheena. And everybody's like, that's bullying. That is not bullying. People use their tears and emotions sometimes as a weapon. If every time this bitch is caught in a lie, she starts crying, I don't give a fuck about your tears either. Ho, stop crying. Fix your face and tell the truth and shame the devil. That's all I want you to do. And I feel Molly. We watch Molly with this finger in her face. You stop them tears for the whole season. For the whole freaking season. So I'm not surprised that she did that. And this is why you got to be careful on what you comment on because you don't fully understand what's going on to the rest of the cast. But after Molly calls out the tears, Sheena magically fixes her tears. And we learned that Forrest did tell his mom that and that the parents did ask for help financially. Sheena says she didn't give them any money. I don't believe her. The host says that Sheena had agreed to sending screenshots of her bank account balance, which is not a way to get the truth. I can screenshot my bank balance right now, go on Canva, ChatGPT, Adobe Pro, and I could edit that shit to make it look like I have thousands of dollars when I don't. Like, so a screenshot is not a way to know the truth. What I want to know is why Sheena started to act suddenly confused about the financial stuff when everyone was asking her. I don't think it's a language barrier. I think that Sheena's a liar. I think that Sheena's a big liar. And Molly explains to everyone at the end of it, she's like, listen, you guys want to make me the bad guy. But Molly's like, she likes Sheena. She cares about Sheena. And she thinks that Sheena is good for her son. She also thinks Sheena truly loves her son and vice versa. Molly said that she's concerned for Sheena because she feels like Sheena's parents are taking advantage of her, which it does look like they are based on what Sheena's telling us. And if they're not, then open your motherfucking mouth, Sheena, and tell us that is different and tell us what's really going on. But she's keeping all of these secrets and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But, you know, Sheena claims she's going to start sending screenshots and everyone was like, are you going to do it without me asking? And Sheena was like, yeah. Sheena ain't going to send shit. That lady is a liar and a sad excuse for a woman. And I think the reason that Sheena is alone until she met Forrest and her last previous relationship did not work out, even though she was in it for so long. I think her problem in love is that she's a chronological or habitual, whatever you call it. She's a liar. She's a liar. She wouldn't know the truth if it bit her on the ass and left the mark. She would not know. VibeX said, yes, Forrest is full of it. He is. He's full of shit. I made sure my son had plenty of condoms, told him to be safe, make sure the girl is clean, and she's not older than you. That's appropriate though. I would not have been asking him how it was in front of her in the cab. Right. Maybe it's the single mom and her son relationship because that's how I would talk to Tariq. It's okay to talk to your kids openly about sex. I just think Molly ignores when Forrest shows discomfort because she thinks, oh, he's on the spectrum. So maybe she feels like she has to like dig in more. Does Forrest have any friends or is Molly his only friend? From what I've seen online, nobody seems to have much good to say about Forrest in the city he lives in outside of the people he works with. Doesn't seem like he has too many friends, but it makes sense. he's probably always talking to Sheena and doing other stuff. I don't feel like he gets out much. In Oregon, though it's near California, is more rural, if that makes sense. So it might be harder for him to make friends. But as you see, he found a job. It wasn't hard to find no job, y'all. He found a freaking job. But we move on because everyone, everyone at the tell-all, I do appreciate how everyone was like, we thought that Molly was the problem. Everyone went up to Molly after Forrest and Sheena's part, and they were like, but we see that Molly is not the problem. It's Sheena that's the problem. And shame on Sheena, because if I love my husband or my man, right, and he's having problems in his relationship with his mother because of my lies about my financial situation, I'm going to tell the truth or not comment at all about the finances, because if you love somebody, why would you want to cause friction between them and their mom? And Forrest's only friction with his mom is because of this woman. So I'm looking at Sheena with the side eye. I also felt a way when his mom was like, you don't get the support you get for autism in the US, in the Philippines, if you stay there. Sheena wanted Forrest to stay out there, but didn't care or consider the fact that he does require additional support, and if her country can provide it. So I don't trust Sheena. I do agree with everybody. Something is off. Something is wrong with her. I think she's gritty. I think she's shady, especially when she says she'll rip that fake bitch's lips off. Sheena's trying to act like she's sweet and she's not. And sometimes the people that are the most sweet and the most polite are the ones you got to watch at all time. I'm talking if you sleep in the same building, keep one eye open while you sleep. Like, some people you got to watch. And I don't know why, but Sheena gives me that energy. Let me know, replay gang and those who are here, if y'all feel the same about Sheena, or if you just think, maybe her and Forrest just a little bit touched and it is what it is. Let me know. Let me know. Also, shout out to all our new subscribers. I appreciate y'all. A big thank you to everybody who supported and watched my Cult of Nature Boy documentary and all of the documentaries that I have reviewed. They've been some of my highest viewed content. So I really appreciate that from everybody. Let's get into who is next, which is Aviva and them little ass mosquito bites on her chest and Stig. I don't take these people seriously. I don't think they take themselves seriously, and I don't think their family or friends takes them seriously. And that's okay. That's okay. Now, Aviva and Stig are broken up in real time today. But before we get into the details of their breakup, everybody on the stage kind of mentioned how irresponsible it was of Aviva and Stig to be trying to have a baby 3 weeks into meeting each other in person. It's one thing to have sex unprotected, right? When you just meet somebody. But to have sex unprotected with the intention of making a child with somebody you do not know, when you guys live in different countries, is crazy. Right, girl, that dress she wore. Let me tell you this. Aviva's body is tea. It's everything you would want a body to be. It is. However, you got to dress for what fits you. That dress was made for somebody with big fake titties. Okay? It was not made for Aviva. Aviva, don't wear that again. Beautiful girl. Her body is tea. But don't put that dress on again. I kept looking down. It looked like, when you drew the eyebrows as kids to make something look evil, you drew the eyebrows up and away from each other. That's what her titties looked like they was doing on that dress. I didn't understand it. But other than that, she looked good. Everyone mentions they're being irresponsible. Forrest really had a bone to pick with Stig, which kind of got on my nerves. Because Forrest was like, Stig, you're a player and I don't like you. And I think you sleep around. Shut your bitch ass up, Forrest. You just learned how to get a job and broke down in tears over a 40-hour work week. Shut the fuck up and put your cigarette out. Can't nobody crying over work tell me shit. Especially when you don't know me. And how are you going to sit here and come for him, but you didn't come for Emma. You didn't come for, it's a bunch of cheaters on the stage. As quiet as it's kept, Rick is a cheater. And Rick and Forrest was acting all buddy bummy and chuddy chummy. Rick is worse than Stig, in my opinion. Rick is way worse than Stig, in my opinion. I'm looking at Forrest like, shut your bitch ass up. Please. Please, you're named after trees. Be quiet. Like, I just cannot. I cannot. But let me catch the comment. Shani said, Forrest, you are going off of what you've seen on TV shows and movies. You don't know nothing about that man. Right. But if we going off a TV show and movie, Rick, who he's chummy with, was cheating with old girl in Colombia, got a new chick he was fucking on in Madagascar while trying to get Trish back. Like, be quiet, Forrest. If you're going to come for Stig, come for Rick. And Forrest was very quiet during Rick's segment. So he got on my nerves with that. I did not understand Forrest for that, but this might sound fucked up. I'm going to just say maybe, I don't know. I actually don't understand what he was thinking of. But they discussed the breakups. Aviva says that Stig would not answer her phone calls while he was out. He would go ghost on her. And then she says that when he did talk to her, he was mean. And Stig says, well, tell them why I was mean to you. I said, Lord, let me tell you this right here. When a man is melanated like that, okay, I don't care if he's from Oakland. I don't care if he's from Nigeria in the Yoruba. I don't care if he is from Australia. If a black man or a melanated complected man says to you, tell them why I was mean, you probably did something to make him mean. I've learned that. You probably did something. It comes out that Aviva cheated on Stig, or so he accuses her of doing. This was just like petty, like trivial. I felt like I was watching, like, no shade, like them Love Island people who are so young. You're like, oh, we hope some of them work out. But then you're kind of like, well, we know none of them will work out. Or that show X on the Beach. Like, it gave that. I just don't take Aviva and Stig seriously as individuals, as professionals, as adults. They just both seem like the lights are on, but no one's home as it relates to where their brain should be. But Aviva swears she did not cheat. She received a text from a guy. Then Stig assumed she was talking to other men. Stig stands 10 toes down on what he said about her being a cheat and mentions a trip to Mexico that Aviva took to an all-inclusive. And apparently he feels like Aviva was talking to other men. And Aviva was like, yeah, I was talking to other men. You see how it feels when you know your spouse is out and they're not answering? So you could do it, but I can't. I get it. You bitches be dumb. I'm sorry. A lot of the people I see single, old and young, be single because of their own wrongdoing, honestly, and can't get it right. 2 wrongs will never make a right, baby. 2 wrongs will never make a right. I never understand people, oh, he cheated on me, I'm going to go cheat back. Are you still sad from him cheating on you? And now he's mad at you for cheating on him. What have you solved? And what have you learned? So, Aviva, you tried to do that for this man. The only time that hitting a nigga with his own actions works is if the nigga cares about you. He don't care about you, boo. And that's why his producers and everybody was laughing at her in Belize. Because remember early on, as soon as she got to Belize and she was in the studio, old dude was trying to tell her, like, no, he still got this chick in Houston he talks to. And then Aunt Spring, Corinne, Stig's own blood father, telling Aviva he still be cheating and talking to other females. I do not feel sorry for Aviva. She sat there and got the proof that this man was talking to other people and chose to ignore it and stay with him. Then when she got back to the States, she expects us to feel sorry for her and got upset at the nigga for behaving the way that he was behaving while he was with her in the first place. His father told you he cheated and you still proceeded. So I don't feel sorry for Aviva. I just look at her like she's truly dumb. I'm sorry. I just think she's dumb. I can't blame it on age. I feel like she's going to be this way for a long time. She does tell us that Stig talked to her crazy. That's something that also doesn't surprise me. I feel like he was talking to her crazy on the show, probably when nobody was looking. Also, he made it very clear he could give a flying fuck about this lady. And usually if a man don't care about you, he'll talk to you all sorts of crazy. I'm just telling you the truth. That's how it seems. So, you know, Aviva was wrong and Stig was wrong. The relationship was never going to make it. On screen, Aunt Spring and Corinne come on the screen. Corinne starts saying these rumors about how people are rumored to say that Stig has multiple people pregnant. Stig talks about really wanting a family and how that is not true. Corinne also said to Stig that she thinks he only wants her as a way to get into the States. I agree with that as well. You know, it is harder to get into America, especially under this administration. However, people like Stig are going to mess up the K1 visa for the people who actually are genuinely in love and want to live with their partner. Like people like him, because he really clearly was only dealing with her to get into America, and it didn't work because he can't come here and stay. But they not together. I don't really have much to add on Aviva and Stig. They were kind of just like a waste of space. I hope they cast better, because Aviva and Stig were both people that gave that they would never end up together. I don't take them seriously. Stig, keep working on them raps, darling. You still got a lot of work to do, but he is talented. He is talented. But yeah, I don't have much to say on Aviva and Stig, beautiful people. Shout out to the replay gang and everybody who is still watching. We are almost at the end. After Aviva and Stig's segment, everybody kind of in the background congregates and determines that Sheena is a liar. And Lisa goes up to Molly and pissed me off, because Lisa goes, you know, I didn't like you, and I was prepared to come on here and tell you what a bad mother you were because you were terrible. You were terrible to your son, but I now see that you're not a bad mother. Says the lady who lived in a fucking tent in the woods somewhere in Georgia with 11 cats and 9 fucking dogs and some gophers and God knows whatever else. Says the lady who shaved her head bald to get into a shelter for homeless people who have been diagnosed with cancer. Says the lady who, Lisa, you can't tell nobody what it means to be a good parent until you yourself figure out what the fuck you doing, because you still putting your adult child through childhood trauma. Okay? Quiet, Lisa. And why would you be prepared to come and tell someone they're a bad parent? Were you prepared for anybody, Lisa, to come and call you a liar or call you out on your bullshit? This lady's weird. This lady is weird. You get your refreshment, Shani. No worries. No worries. You could always catch the replay. You can always catch the replay. But that irritated me. I was like, Lisa, go sit down somewhere and go air out your wig. Please. You pooped on TV and you trying to call anybody else about nothing. Lady, please. Please. She irritates my soul. Now, Elise and Josh are our next segment. They get on my nerves so bad, y'all. So, oh no, she did. Shani, I'm going to send you the stuff on DM after this live. Give me like an hour because I haven't eaten today. But I'm going to send you the links as well as some Reddit threads. There, Lisa's sister, her actual sister that she grew up with, spoke out on her. And that was one of the things she said that her sister has done. Lisa is kooky for real, like in real time. There's something wrong with this lady. But Elise and Josh are back together. They have tatted each other's names on each other. Listen, I always feel weird because before I married my husband, I did tattoo his name on me just a year into the relationship. However, it worked out for me and we were together without problems. Lisa, or not Lisa, but Elise and Josh have had so many problems. I was happy to hear that he did fly out to Miami and spend time with her. I was happy to hear that Josh changed jobs. He now has a salary and he is no longer living with Nat. And we get to see Chris, who in real time has been arrested or something for trafficking drugs that we saw in the movie Scarface. And we learn that from Elise that Josh has bought her a one-way ticket to Australia. And she alludes to moving to Australia to be with Josh. I said, wait a minute. You moving to Australia? It worried me a little bit, you guys. It did worry me because I'm just kind of like, Australia, if you have to pick a country to move to, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with 90 Day the Other Way, where the Americans go to another country, but Australia, as an American, if you're looking at infrastructure, good healthcare, things like that, it's not a bad place to go. It's absolutely not a bad place to go. But I think it's strange to give up the life that you have in America to go to Australia. She says that Josh has moved closer to his son. I don't know how true that is because Facebook word on the curve is Josh is a deadbeat and the baby mama is not happy about him doing this show. But these are the updates. Now, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Elise and Josh got it together until his friend Nat came on the screen. And Nat says that she doesn't give a damn what anybody thinks about her and Josh being too close, and says that most of her friends are males. I'm a person that has had a lot of male friends. I do better with men than women. Straight, gay, everything in between. I just do better with men. And I've never had to make the comment, oh, I just have a lot of male friends. You know why? Because any of my male friends, when they get a girlfriend or something, some of them have gotten married, had kids. When their females express any type of discomfort, I say, oh, no, you need to facilitate something between all of us. And I nip that shit in the bud. Hey, boo, I don't want your man. I have Mr. Best and he's hanging to the knees. I'm happy as hell. I'm good. I don't want your boo. Like, make it very clear, because if you care about the friendship and you see that you have a friend of the opposite sex in a relationship, instead of saying you don't give a damn how people think, you're going to do what you can to make it to where your friend's partner feels comfortable with the friendship throughout the relationship. Not for the person, but for your friend, Nat. But when you want your friends as more than friends, but you're trying to act like you don't want them or need them, it reflects differently. So they ask Nat if she feels like, now that she knows that Josh lied to Elise and led her on and did not tell her he was living with her, if she feels differently. And Nat says no, she doesn't feel like there's any fault at all on her part, on Josh's part. She doesn't feel wrong. And Laura kind of made a point to Nat that I liked. She was like, Nat, because Josh tried to make it seem like the reason he was living with Nat was because he was going through a hard time. And Elise started to complain about the fact that while she was in Australia, the time that she was spending with Josh, he was spending texting Nat, going and running to kick it with her. Like, he wasn't very present and available to Elise for Nat. Your friends are important, but your man should come higher than your friends. I'm going to put mine between all of my friends, and they just going to have to get over it, or I'll find new friends. Like, that's how it should be. But child, Josh said Nat's going through a hard time. I loved Laura for pointing out to Nat, like, okay, so if you were going through a hard time and you have all these great friends, why didn't you lean on any of your other friends for support, since you knew that this friend was going through a lot? And Nat didn't have nothing to say about that. And she said that she felt like Elise is not good enough for Josh. I think everyone on stage kind of saw that Nat probably wants Josh, but when you have a butterface as she does, you can't get what you want all the time. Sorry, not sorry. I said what I said. But you know, Laura, because Laura has to talk and be the center of attention and do this fake uplifting bullshit. But Laura did say that Elise is a good catch for Josh, but I don't feel like Elise is a good catch for anybody. Elise is quick to anger, slow to listen, and shallow. That's how I feel. Has nothing to do with the income or the trust fund, but I think separate from that, that's how she is. Now, Elise speaks about her father being concerned about her finances and being with Josh, because when Josh did come to Miami, Elise still wound up paying for a lot of stuff on her own. And it seems like she's like just happy he bought a plane ticket, but I'm like, oh no, boo, he needs to do more. Because if you have a trust fund and a rich father and are making good money yourself, you need to be with somebody who can match that caliber of your father and protect your income. You need to protect yourself, Elise. Like, I don't understand. I get that you want love, but protect yourself. And I don't fully trust Josh. I just don't. And Josh looked like he snorted 17 lines before the reunion started. His eyes was darting, pupils was dilated. He looked all sorts of crazy up on the motherfucking screen. He just did. He just did to me. Let me know if y'all feel different. It's totally fine if you have an opinion different from mine. This is not one of those channels where it's my way or the highway. But I felt like Josh was up there lit. Okay, toe up. And I feel like that's why his friend Chris was also laughing a bunch. But they asked the question because we learned that Elise is well off because of her dad. Ain't nothing wrong with it. And Lisa actually asked a really good question to Elise. So shout out to Lisa. Maybe the wig being off helped her think. But Lisa said, it asked Elise, would you give up your trust fund to be with Josh since your father, you know, feels a way about the finances? She did not answer the question. And the whole audience answered the question for her. Hell yeah. If I'm not married to a man and he treated me like crap and let his friend disrespect me while I went to Australia and while we on this stage, nigga, I'm not choosing you over my trust fund. I'm gonna choose my trust fund. If my trust fund has millions and millions of dollars, like over 5 million, I'm not choosing love. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I'll repent that sin publicly. If my trust fund is over 5 million, I'm not choosing love. I'm choosing the cash. I am, and everything will figure itself out in the end. Okay. I'm gonna figure it out. Okay. Money can buy some forms of happiness. I'm just saying. But child, Rick makes the dumb comment, I think these guys are on the right track. If Rick is saying he thinks someone is on the right track, they are indeed on the wrong track. The wrong track. Okay. They need to turn around, make that U-turn, flip a bitch, and go the opposite direction. If Rick says it's good, it's not good. That's just how Rick, you have some friends, and I will never say which friends of mine these are. I feel like some of them can sense it, but I have a small circle. And with some of my friends, when they give advice or say certain stuff about relationship, I let them talk. But in my head, I'd be like, nobody's listening to what you're saying. You're a disaster yourself. Like, Rick is that person you would have to do that to. Like, Rick, if you think that these two are on the right track, they indeed should not continue dating. They just should not. Before we move on to the segment with Rick and Trish, though, I want to get through the comments. Shani said, related to Chris, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Chris looked like he in a detention center as he's doing the show. Y'all, he was arrested. He might be. I will be talking about that on Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be having a live where I discuss the updates that are going on in the reality TV world. Chris is a part of it. We're going to discuss PK's interview from Beverly Hills, Amanda Francis potentially not returning, Love and Hip Hop's final and full official announcement of it ending, as well as what we'll replace it with. I'm also going to be announcing new shows that I'll be covering on the channel throughout the summer. So I do hope you guys tune into that live. It's already set up on the channel. But child, Chris is a lot. He's a lot. Shani said, and Josh can't remember what he did last week because he's dipping in Chris's supply. He can't remember. He just trying to make it. When my male friends get their girlfriends, I know how to be respectful. But I was here first. Yeah, there's a way to be respectful, but still be, a friend and important. There absolutely is a way. And Nat just don't care. I think Nat wants Josh, but Josh don't want Nat like that. And I think that pisses her off. I think it does. And I think Nat knows she's wrong. And some part of me feels like he was living with his parents, but moved in with Nat because she offered. And I feel like Nat may have moved him in trying to sabotage his relationship with Elise, because Nat gave jealous and like she want him but can't have him, child. That's just what she gives. But moving on to Rick and Trisha. As we remember, you guys, Trisha's pregnant. She's 6 months pregnant. Good for her. She wanted to have a baby. It's very important with her culture. Their segment was kind of Rick the Ick is gross. Now, Rick and Trisha are not together. She's pregnant by a man in Australia. The man that she's pregnant with, they are not together anymore, but they do communicate because she is pregnant and about to have a baby. I think that is, appropriate. And Trish, you met a man in Australia. So Rick ain't the only one going coast to coast, continent to continent to meet people. Okay, Trish, I see you, but I'm not mad. I am not mad after what she went through with Rick the Ick. I can't be mad at her, not worth a damn. But we learned that the night after Rick and Trish broke up that we watched on the show, that Rick met a woman in a bar in Madagascar, because when you're heartbroken, apparently that means go swing your dick somewhere else. He still won't Trish back, but you sleeping with a new woman already so soon. He took this lady that he met in Madagascar to Hong Kong, and then Trish reveals that it's crazy that he say he wants her back when he took the next bitch that he met the day after she broke up with him to Hong Kong, when that trip was originally meant for Trisha's birthday. That's fucked up. That's genuinely fucked up. You go I got to go on a vacation. I'm going to take somebody. You could have refunded that one part of the ticket, Rick. But we know, no shade. I don't think anybody expects anything good of Rick. And I don't think anybody with sense in America will ever date him again. He's going to have to go overseas to date because it's already enough. You a former washed up wrestler living in a regular neighborhood in LA, selling weave to single moms during tax time and driving for Uber in your spare time. I promise y'all, as expensive as it is out here in California, he can't do nothing for no California woman. He can't. He just cannot. So I feel like Rick is forced to date who he dates and nobody takes him seriously. But he took this new chick somewhere that he was going to take Trish. I was like, ugh. Then they get into the splash pad. Now, the splash pad is what he got because Trish is a female that ejaculates, or they bleeped it out on YouTube, on the show. I don't know if I can say that, but if I have a squirt gun, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Her coochie does what that do. So because of this, he said he's going to bring a splash pad. But I was disgusted to find out that splash pad he bought, he was like, this thing cost me $40. But we learned that he's used this splash pad before. It was reusable. He was like, well, people reuse seats and sleep with people. I know you not fucking telling us that this splash pad, a bunch of other women have splashed on. That's nasty as fuck. That is nasty. You want me to come where the last bitch did? Are you serious? Even if they were having a threesome, my sheets can go into the wash with hot water and soap and a sanitizing segment on the wash machine. That's disgusting and shows how little respect he has for women, that you just reusing the same sex toys from bitch to bitch. Like, what? This is how STDs get around. I'm so convinced that this is how people get STDs. It's probably some innocent woman that sat on a splash pad that done been reused by somebody else and caught the clap. Just sitting there, didn't even get to come. I don't understand why Rick thought this was appropriate, and he doesn't seem to like care much. I think he's just happy to be like relevant. He just gives icky and creepy. He's a creep. Rick is a fucking creep. I don't care what nobody says, and there's nothing he could say to comfort me. A nigga to drive for Uber can't say anything for me. Rick, I could pay your mortgage. What can you do for anybody other than pull out a reusable splash pad because you probably too broke and didn't cash out your Uber funds to get another $40 to get a new one? No. Ugh. He's gross. He's really, really gross. But Rick tells everybody he still wants Trisha back in his life. And I'm like, so on top of audacity, this nigga has a certain level of delusion that is also intense. This is why women be cussing people out. This is why we don't be wanting to submit. Men like Rick are why women do not be wanting to be as faithful no more these days. Like, men like Rick are the reason some women are the way they are. He makes women give up on dating men like him. And he thinks that because he goes to the gym and can lift the weight, that makes him worth something. No, it does not. It really doesn't. But he want her back. And Trish says she's not ready to have him in her life. And I respected Trish for saying that. I was like, yes, girl, you are pregnant. And you talking about you want a pregnant woman back? She's about to have a baby by somebody else. Like, are you in your right mind, Rick? Talk about, unfortunately, this is not my baby. When you spent the whole fucking season lying to her and her family about wanting a kid. If you're 52 dating a 25-year-old, she's going to want a fucking kid. If the bitch is still fertile and gets a period, she's going to want a kid, likely. Like, okay, do y'all understand, Rick? For women, the baby is what makes our periods worth it. Literally. I don't even want kids, really, but I'd be willing to at least try with the pregnancy thing once, just because I feel like I don't want to go through all these horrible menstrual cycles every 28 days for nothing. I'm getting something out of it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand Rick. Rick gets on my nerves, but you know, Trisha's not interested in him. And shout out to Anna, because Anna told Rick, she said, Rick, you're weak in the flesh. If I was her, I would not go back to you. You just don't want to be. He said, I don't want to be alone, Anna. She said, then get married. I hate when men cry, I don't want to be alone. You picking up bitches from LA to Colombia to Madagascar to Hong Kong, nigga. You could have chosen to marry one of them. You are the man in a heterosexual relationship. So if you're lonely, Anna is right. Get married. Pick a bitch and stick to her. I don't understand that. I'm lonely. Loneliness ain't got nothing to do with sex. It's giving you horny and you don't know how to resist the urge, so you fuck anything that you see. That's what it's giving. Seek therapy or get married. Because Anna is right. That man is truly weak in the flesh. Weak. Because only a weak man can moves like Rick. It's just a fact. And men will agree, women will agree, gay men will agree, the trans community will agree. I think we all are in agreement that Rick is weak. He is. But we're gonna move forward. After Rick and Trisha, they end the tell-all. This is normal for 90 days. They end the tell-all and they like to show us the drama that goes on backstage. And that is what we see. So Emma goes up to Elise backstage and she's like, hey, I want to talk to you, Miss Stankwig. And she tells Elise that she's upset at learning that Elise tried to hook up with Rob. Rob is Sophie's ex-husband. From those of you who watch my 90 Day The Single Life reviews, Rob is a handsome man and a cheat and also a liar, just like Sophie. I see why they was together. And Rob has been known to share his 90-day dick with 90 different co-stars. So I was not surprised to hear that Rob was the guy that came up. I am looking at Emma like, you know how dudes have bro code? I'm not arguing with my girlfriend over no nigga that was never really mine. If we just talk, I'm not arguing with you over him. It is what it is. Like, I don't care. But Emma is upset that Elise hooked up with Rob. I'd like to remind everybody that Rob is not Emma's boyfriend. They are not trying to be a couple. Emma just been fucking everybody because now she's allegedly with Jamal, who's Rob's friend, which I found odd, from 90 Day as well. But she tries to tell Elise she didn't like that. Elise is like, huh? I never tried to hook up with Rob. Emma says that she had screenshots that Rob showed her. And Elise is still like, I don't care what you have or what you've seen or what you say. I did not hook up with him and this is not true. And I'm not going to admit to doing something that I did not do. And Emma then says that Elise tried to invite Rob to her room, asked him to cuddle with her. And then Emma started crying, saying it's annoying because she doesn't know who she can trust. Why is that a matter of trust if this wasn't your man? You know what's annoying, Emma? The fact that you got up there and turned everybody against Ziad when you're the problem. If a bitch lies to you about hella shit and then tries to put you on blast in your country where it's illegal to sleep with you, I'd leave that bitch in the desert too. So I'm not mad at Ziad. And separate from that, Emma was sitting up there, I want to be engaged on my birthday, while cheating on him. You want to be engaged, but you don't know how to be faithful. I don't take Emma seriously. I feel like Emma's a 304. I just do, with a bad wig. That's how I feel about her. And Elise kind of gives that too. I feel like when Elise is not with Josh, she just sleep with whoever and does whatever she wants. And that's fine. But I kind of understood why Elise snapped, but then I was also annoyed. Elise did snap on Emma and screamed at her. And then she says to Amber something that made me not side with Elise. Elise was like, you know, I didn't discuss this situation with Rob on camera because you said you didn't want me to, and I didn't want to embarrass you. It was interesting that Elise said that because she did speak about it on camera. She didn't do it on the tell-all stage, but she did it to the camera and was whispering. So you were speaking about something in the tell-all part one that you knew you were not supposed to speak of. So how can you yell at this girl about that? But I also feel like Emma is full of shit because that's not your man. You're a pass around that cheats constantly. And you don't get to, as a pass around sleeping with everybody, then claim one of your victims as your own and yell at somebody else with that. If you're building a friendship with her for real, you would have approached her about this before the reunion. You could have talked to her before the tell-all, after it, during it, when y'all were backstage on your lunch breaks. It was weird that Emma did wait to say something to Elise, and I do think she was doing that to have a moment for the camera, but they did eventually make peace. Because Emma, you can only go so far to getting mad at a woman who has a whole other boyfriend over a man that don't even belong to you. Like, shut up. Emma just irked my soul. Shani said Emma is giving off ditzy tramp. She's trying to push up on Chris in the detention center. Right. She's willing to sleep with anybody. And that's not cute, woman or man. Like, my God, close your legs and be selective. Not so desperate. But I am happy that Emma is gone. Unfortunately, we will have to see her on 90 Day. Unfortunately, we will have to see Emma going forward on 90 Days. She's going to be on one of the franchises. But that was really it, y'all. I appreciate everybody who watched my reviews of season 8 of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. You can see on my channel, I do have a playlist, the 90 Day franchise, for anybody who missed any of our reviews, where you could catch up on all of them. I will continue to cover 90 Day the Single Life on Tuesdays. I will also be covering 90 Day Fiancé, which does air on the 10th, which is this Sunday. I will be covering the whole season on my channel. So I hope that you guys tune in and watch 90 Day Fiancé as well. And then the next 90 Day after that, I believe, is 90 Day The Last Resort. That's coming June 1st. I'll be covering that. And 90 Day Hunt for Love is filming, and I believe Emma is a part of that one. I will be covering the 90 Day franchise as a whole. I just don't cover the 90 Day Diaries. That's stupid. I don't care about the 90 Day Diaries, y'all. But other than that, I appreciate everybody for the support. It really means a lot. I was scared to cover 90 Day in general, but everyone's been so supportive. If there is a show that you are interested in having me cover, suggest it. I have pretty much every streaming app and cable, with the exception of Peacock, but I don't have Peacock because I have cable. So feel free to suggest a show that you would like me to cover. If it's on MGM, I can do it. If it's HBO Max, I can do it. If it is Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix, I can do it. If it is Stars, I can do it. If it comes on cable, I can do it. Feel free to give me a show suggesting that you'd like to see covered. I also cover documentaries. Other than that, I hope all of y'all had a great, and I mean the best, Monday. I hope we all have a good week. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Uh-oh, I have a comment I missed before I go. Just kidding. Shani said, how are you feeling about the TV show so far, friend? Which TV show? Which TV show? Which TV show? Which TV show? I like From, but there's a lot of shows. DM me, Shani. But I will see everybody again tomorrow. I hope y'all have a good night. Like the video, subscribe. Shout out to the replay gang, and I'll see y'all next time. And yes, I love From, Shani, and I'm considering covering it. I am considering covering it, Shani. I was telling my husband, I just finished. We're almost done with season 3. The current season is in season 4. So I'm probably going to do like a little live discussing seasons 1 to 3 with my husband, just casually. And then I'll probably start recapping the current season, which is season 4, weekly. But I love From. From is so good. And when Welcome to Deary, or It, the series, they renewed that. Once that's back, I'll be covering that as well. P-Valley is also a show that I plan to cover. It's supposed to be coming back this year. And I will also be covering the the Power Universe, Raising Kanan, all of those shows, as well as the origin story of the Powers. So I have a lot that I'm going to be covering going forward. I'm adding scripted shows. So don't be afraid, y'all. You can make a suggestion by emailing me. There's always contact info in the description. Or you can DM me as well, or you can leave a comment if that's easier. But other than that, I'll see y'all next time, beautiful people. Good night.